It's over here, so I don't know.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Season 3 finale of The Middle Seats. I'm Andrew Ojek.
I'm Jay Kensler.
The Middle Seats is your source for all things cinema here at Marist College. Our show is typically divided into 3 segments, but on this special season finale, we've got a treat.
Ooh,
4
shiny.
segments. We've got news with the top 5. Then we've got a review of the highly anticipated Avengers: Age of Ultron. Then we've got a very festive edition of Bang Bang. And then we'll have our second annual Meaningless Middle Seats Awards. Take a seat, everyone. It's going to be a super heroic time.
You said addiction.
I did, right? I don't know.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, without you, my friend.
I was just gonna.
I beat you
That's
to it.
That's really bad that we do that.
Listen, we're in for a good show here.
Yeah, we have 4 segments. We always start off with typically divided into 3 segments, and today's different. So you're in for a treat.
We actually have a different thing today.
Right.
And I feel like this is
Crazy.
where the Middle Seats finally becomes like full circle, because our first ever episode we reviewed Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and that was way
True.
back almost a year ago.
Yeah, when I didn't know how to speak,
And today we've got Avengers: Age of Ultron.
which is.
Yeah, Peter and I were rewatching
Oh,
that early one.
God.
We're both kind of rough.
I don't
in
think
that.
I've ever watched that again since it happened.
I hope we got better. I don't know.
hope
People
so,
can
too.
tell us. I don't know. But before we can assemble our thoughts on the latest Marvel offering, we've got to talk about some news. It's the top 5.
These are, as always, the pieces of news that we found the most interesting in the past week, and they, as always, are ranked in ascending order.
Clowns are really creepy. I know, breaking news, right? Not exactly, but there hasn't been a property that has tapped into that common fear like Stephen King's It, besides maybe any commercial ever starring Ronald McDonald. It, the story of a demon who takes the form of phobias to terrorize its victims, is in this case, clowns, a 2-part, 3-hour adaptation of the novel premiered in 1990 on TV. Tim Curry played the clown at that time, but our number 5 story is about the next actor who will be taking the mantle. Director Cary Fukunaga, best known for his work on True Detective Season 1, has tapped Maze Runner and We're the Miller star Will Poulter to play the infamous clown. The film will be released in 2 parts at some point. Did you ever watch the original It?
No, I've heard it's pretty good, and I've heard it's pretty creepy. And I watched the clip attached to the news story where he's in the sewer, and it's kind of odd. But I've never actually seen it.
I wouldn't call it creepy. I would call it kind of funny.
You think so?
It's funny in
that
like
what
the
you're-
best way possible. It's like dark horror comedy kind of, and it
Cynical,
works.
cynical.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
But look at Will. You got to look at Will Poulter's face. Like you could see him playing a clown, right?
At first, I
It's a
was like,
scary-looking
in
individual.
the kid from We're the Millers who gets bit by the tarantula. But now that I kind of see it, and because he's serious in Maze Runner, he's
Yeah.
showing a bit of diversity. He's shown that he can do a couple different things. I can kind of see it.
He's good at a very antagonistic role in Maze Runner.
Yeah.
And I think he fits the bill that we need here for the It character.
And Cary Fukunaga said that he was kind of looking for an older character, but when Will Poulter tried out, that's what
Blew
sold
him
him.
away,
So
right?
It must have been a really good audition if that was a convincing.
And I
So-
read something that also from The Revenant, the
yeah,
Alejandro
yeah.
Inarritu movie coming out. He's seen footage from that, and apparently Poulter's amazing in that. So that makes
Yeah.
sense for why he would cast him in such a high-profile project.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
should
I'm
be
very excited for this casting choice. It's out of the box, but it works.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that. But more news on the webhead's journey back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Word on the street, or speculations on the internet, say that everyone's favorite wall crawler is on its way to finalizing a director as well as a lead actor to play Peter Parker, not Miles Morales. Drew Goddard, director of Cabin in the Woods, was speculated early, but was left out of the top 5 listed here. These top 5 and their respective films are, in no specific order, Jonathan Levine from 50/50, Ted Melfi from St. Vincent, Jared Hess from Napoleon Dynamite, Jason Moore, Pitch Perfect, and a duo of John Francis Daly and Jonathan M. Goldstein, who are directing the Vacation reboot/sequel. Marvel and Sony are moving fast and apparently looking for directors with experience in coming-of-age stories and for an actor who is witty and quick-talking like Spidey is in the comics. The final 5 actors and their respective films are, again in no particular order, Nat Wolff from The Fault in Our Stars, Asa Butterfield from Hugo and Ender's Game, Tom Holland from The Impossible, Timothy Chalamet from the TV series Homeland and Interstellar, and Liam James from the TV series The Killing and The Way, Way Back.
Oh yeah.
The criteria here is mainly looking of high school age due to the film going back to Peter Parker's high school years. Spidey is speculated to appear in Captain America: Civil War this time next year and get his own standalone film come 2017.
Chalamet, I'm so impressed. That was really good. I'm really
Practicing
impressed.
all day.
I can tell. I can tell. How many times are we going to talk about Spider-Man?
Well, quite a lot considering, like we always say, Marvel is, and Star Wars at this point are always spitting news literally every week, and because we're movie buffs and those are the biggest things out right now, we're going to be talking about them.
Marvel also released their quote-unquote official lineup for Civil War today, and it's most of the people we expected.
Right.
Black Panther's in there as we expected. Ant-Man's
Right, he's
in
showing
there.
up.
Ant-Man's
Ant-Man
confirmed.
is showing up?
He's
I didn't know
confirmed to
that.
be in there.
Cool,
They added
cool.
Martin Freeman in a role.
I saw that.
That's gonna be nice.
That should be good. Love Martin Freeman.
From the Hulk, Thunderbolt Ross is back.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I like how I'm breaking the news to Jake as it's going on.
I was gonna say I've been busy, but I haven't done anything today, so that's a lie. But
So you have no excuse. Then.
no, I have no
Okay.
excuse.
That's fine. But yeah, there's always Marvel news, and we're going to talk about
Right.
another Marvel thing right now.
The interesting thing for me with Chalamet from Interstellar, he's Matthew McConaughey's son when the son is like 14, 15 years old. I've never seen him anything other than that. So I wonder if that kid gets chosen, that might be an interesting choice because he's got experience in big films and big quality directors like Christopher Nolan, so he might be able to handle a role like that.
I just want to know what happened to Logan Lerman. That was my choice originally.
Yeah, and
then
Dylan
he just went
O'Brien
away.
too.
And I think Drew Goddard is more interesting than any of the directors.
Yeah, I would love to see Drew Goddard do Spider-Man.
Yeah. If I had to pick from those 5, though, Jonathan Levine, definitely. I'm a big fan. Big fan of 50-50.
Yeah, really underrated movie.
And Warm Bodies, too.
Didn't
Very
see
good
that.
movie. But keeping on the Marvel front, Disney really has built a global empire, as reinforced by films such as Avengers Age of Ultron, which we'll talk about in a little bit. The number 3 story shows the sheer amount of power that they've accumulated over the past few years. Disney has been at war with the National Association of Theater Owners, or the hilariously coincidentally titled NATO. The Mouse House has been demanding that theaters stop matinee screenings of Avengers Age of Ultron at 5 p.m. to heighten the ticket prices, and they are also demanding that the theaters adhere to the national average ticket price, or else Disney will reap more of the benefits. It's all very financially complicated. The bottom line is Disney's being a dick, and it will only get worse with more and more films and properties that they acquire.
I want to start the banter with, what is that behind us?
That is evil Disney
What is
Corporation. That's Mickey. That's Mickey.
Well, I know that's Mickey, but
That's Mickey when he saw all
of a
the money that
choice.
he made from Avengers Age of Ultron.
snorted cocaine with Wolf of Wall Street people.
Okay. That's true. That's true.
But I don't know, that's kind of rough. I get Disney's this basically the biggest powerhouse now that they own Marvel and Star Wars, but like, come on.
They have all the leverage, too.
Yeah, there's nothing
And
anybody can do about it.
we forget they have Pixar movies, too. They
Yeah,
have regular
exactly.
Disney animation. Frozen's not even Pixar, and they're reaping in money. Big
Yeah.
Hero 6 is not even Pixar. Inside Out is going to take the bank to town this...
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
gonna be huge. Is Minions at all associated? No,
No,
that's not Disney,
Minions
I didn't
is
think so.
Illumination, Sony. Yeah,
what I thought.
But this could be a very distressing sign of things to come. Disney could be taking over the world here.
You're right.
I know one of our crew members
Like
is
it's a
very
small world
happy
after
about
all,
that.
but it's gonna be like very, very
I know one of
small.
our crew members is very happy about that. She's sitting over there,
Miss
Miss
Pront.
Abby Pront.
Miss Pront. Very happy. But yeah, I don't really know what to think because like I don't know. Disney World seems like such a happy place, and then its CEOs are like,
It's not a happy place for me anymore. I went the
No?
first time, I had fun. The second time, I was just like, this is
Haven't been
really
there in a
greedy,
while.
and I hate it here. It's disgusting. There's so many kids like pulling on their mom's legs, like, I want a Buzz Lightyear action figure, and it's like,
you knew too much too early.
we'll get to that later, I guess.
Okay. Anyway, getting a silver medal in the news tonight, but not from Star Wars, is Josh Trank. Trank, the director of Chronicle and upcoming Fantastic Four reboot, was set to direct one of the new Star Wars spin-offs, but speculation began when Trank didn't show up to his panel during the recent Star Wars convention. He was reported sick, but it wasn't long until information was released that Trank was no longer set to work on the project. It is very much assumed that Disney executives had asked Trank not to attend the panel and proceeded to show Godzilla director Gareth Edwards' Rogue One teaser trailer only. It is also speculated that Simon Kinberg, who worked with Trank on the new Fantastic Four, was one of a few who expressed negative feelings regarding working with Trank. No new director has been given the project yet, but it seems clear that Disney has a set idea on what they want this spin-off film to be, now known as part of the Star Wars anthology. That's I've only seen Chronicle. Well, that's the only thing Trank's really done, and I've seen Chronicle, and it's pretty good. But to give him Star Wars alone is like, it's a bit of a bold move considering he's only really done like one movie. It's pretty bold,
And
in my opinion.
some of the reports I've heard about what happened with Trank, is like kind of distressing. Like he's been like struggling with isolation issues and depression issues and overwhelming
that.
amounts of stuff. And I don't know if he's the type of director. Not everybody is built to make a big blockbuster.
Right.
And it takes a lot of pressure. And I think Fantastic Four kind of weighed down on him a bit.
I wonder. I hope it's good because now with that speculation, I'm kind of concerned for Fantastic Four.
I also
it looks
am
pretty
too,
good,
yeah.
but I don't know.
Which I don't know how fair it is to him. I thought Chronicle
Right.
was excellent. I really
Right.
enjoyed Chronicle.
I enjoy Chronicle. I don't like it as much as you or some other people I know. It didn't like blow me away, but it is good.
The thing about Chronicle, though, is it's good for what it is. And that's why I'm worried. Maybe he can't handle the next step.
Maybe.
Yeah, and
Maybe.
I'm hoping that that's not true. But
Right, because his really only movie did get a lot of good critical acclaim and everything else. So it'd be a shame if he just couldn't reach the next level. Like that was it for him.
Right.
That would be a shame.
It would be, absolutely. One of the most famous scenes of all time is the prison escape scene at the climax of 1994's The Shawshank Redemption, where Tim Robbins' Andy Dufresne finally escapes from the shackles of the prison that has been holding him for so many years. It's a triumph, expertly shot moment that has been resonating through the test of time. But did you know that the escape has some basis in reality? The story of Frank Freshwater certainly sounds like The Shawshank Redemption, as Freshwaters was jailed for vehicular manslaughter in 1957 and disappeared in an escape attempt in 1959. This week, police caught the now 79-year-old Freshwater, who was living in Florida under the name alias William Harold Cox. I hope the same thing didn't happen to Dufresne. I like Andy Dufresne. I don't want that to happen.
No, I mean, great movie, great characters, like you said, in Andy Dufresne. Foreshadowing Mother's Day a little bit because I'm pretty sure this is my mom's favorite movie. So this is a very interesting news story.
It's a really
come
good
out.
movie. It's a great movie.
Oh,
it's one of my favorites.
It's amazing. If I know you're not a big fan of the IMDb stuff, but it is ranked #1 on IMDb.
Okay,
from
I'm
users.
not going to fight that.
Yeah.
It's winning my top 10. Absolutely.
Yeah, Shawshank's amazing.
Yeah,
With
I
one of
think
the
it's great.
nicest endings of all time.
But let's talk about the story here.
Yeah,
Like,
this is a very fascinating story.
this is weird.
And
this is really weird.
He's had some law troubles before, and he's just moved out of the country or out of the States a couple times and gotten away with it, which is really, like, I don't know.
At this point, why don't you just let him go? Like, what is the deputy that has enough
Right.
time on his hands to look for a 79-year-old?
Right, yeah, the guy's 79. And, reportedly, when they found him at his trailer, he was just like, got me. Sorry, what am I supposed to do with
I
this
needed a
point?
change
Like,
anyway. I needed to change the scenery.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take him to prison at this point.
you imagine the next news story we hear is he broke out again? That would be phenomenal.
Shawshank. Do they have to make Shawshank 2 then?
Shawshank, the Revenge? I don't even know.
Revenge. The Shawshank Zihuatanejo Unlimited. That's where they go at the end.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah,
makes
that's the name
sense
of the
now.
island.
I didn't catch that. Morgan Freeman and whatever Unite. I don't know.
Tim Robbins?
Stretching, yes.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Stretching. Moving on.
Moving on. That'll do it for the top 5, and it is time for the review we've all been waiting for. The Avengers: Age of Ultron. All you, Andrew.
Thank you. From the moment I stepped out of 2012's Avengers, I was immediately ready for Avengers: Age of Ultron. That film was groundbreaking, a dawn of a new era of cinema and TV that inspired countless imitators, and with good measure too, as the Avengers has earned its reputation as one of the most entertaining films of all time. It's fun, it balances its characters well, and is ridiculously successful at its ultimate goal, creating awe at seeing the Earth's mightiest heroes together on the screen. So what's Marvel been up to since then? Well, since we never ever talk about them on this show, you should be informed about what the company's been up to in its Phase 2 planning. Iron Man 3 dropped in May of 2013, Thor: The Dark World in November of that year, Captain America: The Winter Soldier in April of 2014. Our review on that show was on our first episode, and this past summer's Guardians of the Galaxy. It was up to Joss Whedon to take the momentum that the company had built and deliver another bombastic adventure. Did he deliver? Despite any problems I may have with Avengers: Age of Ultron, there is no moment where it slows down or becomes anything less than ridiculously entertaining. An undisclosed amount of time has passed since the end of the first Avengers. We open with our mighty heroes, Captain America, Steve Rogers, played by Chris Evans, Iron Man / Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr., Thor, played by Chris Hemsworth, Bruce Banner the Hulk, played by Bruce Banner, aka Mark Ruffalo, Natasha Romanoff and Black Widow, played by Scarlett Johansson, and Clint Barton / Hawkeye, played by Jeremy Renner. They are taking down the last remnants of Hydra. Stark retrieves the scepter of Loki, Thor's brother and the villain from the last Avengers, and with Banner uses it to finish their secret project, an AI robotic program known as Ultron, voiced by James Spader. Ultron gains awareness and immediately presents himself as hostile, deciding that the best way to protect the Earth is by human extinction. It's up to the Avengers to stop him and his new friends, the twins Wanda and Pietro Maximoff, a.k.a. Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver, a.k.a. Elizabeth Olsen and Aaron Taylor Johnson. There's so much going on in Age of Ultron. It's a 3-hour movie crammed into 2 hours and 20 minutes. There isn't a moment where you forget. Whedon's film is exhausting from start to finish, crammed with solid plots, several main characters, and wall-to-wall action scenes. From time to time, this gets distracting and irritating. However, the sense of sheer fun never dissipates. Whedon clearly has an ear for dialogue and an eye for these characters, and it's once again positively euphoric to see them interact. Whedon has gotten really good at team action. Each character gets their cool moments, and they pile up in a deposit of awesomeness. No action or actors overshadows the other throughout, which is how an ensemble is supposed to be. However, Evans, Downey Jr., Hemsworth, Johansson, and Ruffalo are clearly the stars, but it's Renner and Paul Bettany as the Vision that really steal the show in the third act. As for Spader as Ultron, he strikes a really interesting balance between sarcastic and menacing. It's certainly not what I was expecting, but it fits the tone of the rest of the film. Whedon's abilities as a director have improved tremendously over time. There's a lot of ingenuity and strong choreography in the action sequences, from the opening assault on Hydra, to a freeway chase in Korea, to the much-anticipated Hulk-Iron Man fight in South Africa. The finale is very reminiscent of the end of the original film, swapping out Chitauri warriors for the Ultron drones. However, Whedon keeps things cool and fresh with these characters, and these individual moments begin to escalate and impress so much that you forget about any similarities. As a $250 million production, Age of Ultron is the most expensive bridge film you will ever see. It's a grandiose, globe-trotting adventure that sees some of the most popular characters in cinema today reunited and fighting alongside each other. But it's ultimately here to set up bigger events coming in the not-too-distant future. There are times where this table setting threatens to derail Age of Ultron, but Whedon makes sure that we understand that it's not about the journey, or not about the destination, rather, but the journey. That destination will hopefully be epic, but if for some reason it isn't, I'm confident that Age of Ultron will last through the test of time as an extremely successful sequel that delivers everything it promises and builds upon the strengths of the original. Every time the Avengers assemble, it's an event, and Whedon, at least this time around, make sure we don't forget. I need my lemonade.
Nice review, well said.
I'm listening.
Yeah, drink your lemonade. First time ever drinking in the studio, I guess. Drinking non-alcoholic. But yes, a lot of what you said I definitely feel is true and accurate. I had a bit more of a tougher time with Andrew than Andrew did. I like Age of Ultron. I think it was good. I think it falls a little short of greatness for me. I feel like it lost a little bit of its epic feel from the first one, but I think some of that is from all the characters are good, all the action scenes are really good. None of the characters really stand out like they do in the first one for me. They're balanced well, but none of them are like really steal the show. They just get a little bit more. Like Hawkeye didn't have a lot to do in the first one, had a lot more to do in this one, and I like that. They're all balanced better. The new characters were done well. They introduced the characters well. For me, it just felt like like you said, there were a lot of subplots and a lot of stuff going on. And because he had to cut it down and edit it and shorten it, I just feel like we were missing things. I would have rather seen that 2 hours and 45, 2 hours and 50 minutes and have the better movie than this shortened 215, 220 movie that I got. So that being said, I really liked it, but I just felt like there were things missing and there was more to it that it felt a little bit rushed. It felt a little bit like it was missing things and like he wanted to take stuff out that he had to, that I wish he hadn't. And I don't know. That's kind of what my basic thoughts are, unfortunately.
One thing that I will stress about this film that Whedon is trying to do, this is not a film for anybody that just wants to jump into this Marvel Cinematic Universe. You need to have at least a little bit of stake in this, or else you're going to get nothing. You're going to get nothing but comedy and good action out of this. You want any kind of emotional investment at all, which I think this film is better than the original Avengers at that. The original Avengers is better at creating awe than this one, but this one is better at deepening the relationships and character development.
Yes, they definitely.
Marvel's gotten really good at that in the last few films.
I definitely agree with that point. They get more backstory. They get a little more emotional. The writing is a little more in depth in this one than the first one. The first one is very simple. It's just very enjoyable, as is Age of Ultron, but it's a little more in depth. There's a little more going on, a little more emotion, everything like that, and it's all very good. But like I said, I feel like he took things out that he needed a little bit more.
And I don't think it was him. I think it was the executives telling him to take it out.
You're probably right.
We've been reading interviews with him saying, "Oh, I had this in here. I had Loki in an entire sequence, and I had to take him out."
Really had Loki in there?
Loki was in there for a while. Yeah, there is a 3-hour cut of Avengers: Age of Ultron that is coming to Blu-ray that I feel like is going to be fantastic.
I have to see that.
Yeah. For now, I think it's upper echelon Marvel. I do.
Yep.
I don't think it's as good as the original. I think it's behind Winter Soldier, Guardians, and maybe the original Iron Man.
And yeah, it's definitely behind the first one and Winter Soldier. It might be behind Guardians and Iron Man. Yeah, it's probably behind those also for me. I would agree with that.
Still, it's a very, very strong effort nonetheless for me.
Yes. Oh, it's very good. And all the action scenes are great. There's some repetitiveness, like you said, the Chitauri to the Ultron drones. The humor is the same. I'm not going to say anything because I want people to see it.
No specifics.
The humor is good. The dialogue is good. You know the reoccurring making fun of Cap thing?
Yeah.
I thought it was good, but it was kind of like, I felt like they didn't know what else to do, so they just threw that in there. Like, it's not as clever as I would have liked.
There's a lot of throwing things at the wall and seeing if it sticks, but
yeah.
Most of it sticks for me. I don't really have any issues with the humor
No,
stuff.
it's not bad at all. It's just, I feel like there was more, I'm a little frustrated with it. Like, I feel like there is more, but I would like to see more and get the better movie that we all thought we were going to get, I guess.
What did you think of Spader? What did you think of him?
He's good, and I liked his voice as Ultron fit perfectly. And maybe I need to see it a second time because the way I saw Ultron in the trailers and in my head was him as very, very menacing, very evil, and he was a little more fun than I expected him to be, I guess. He was a little more comical. I laughed at him a couple times, and I guess I didn't expect that. So maybe I need to see it again to kind of adapt to it. But I thought Ultron was going to be more menacing, and I never really felt like afraid of him. Like where Loki has unpredictability, and you wouldn't know what he would do, and that kind of made it a little cautious, a little freaky. I never got anything like that with Ultron.
One thing I have with Ultron, I really enjoyed him as a villain. I think he's one of the stronger Marvel villains, which I don't know how much that's saying.
Well,
that's one of their weak points.
Thor: The Dark World didn't have a good villain.
It's one of their weak points.
Even
absolutely.
Ronan in Guardians wasn't that great.
Yeah, but his plan doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, his plan seems...
Which we won't go into here, obviously.
Yeah, I feel like they needed to elaborate his plan a little bit more. It was just kind of like, I get it, but they didn't even go into it a whole lot.
Yeah.
And he seemed kind of, I don't know, a lot of the drones seemed disposable in the movie. Like, they never really seemed to be a threat at all.
I thought they combated that well by having them, like, reoccurring. Like, there are so many of them that they can be disposable because there's so many
they just
of
keep
them.
coming. That's
it's
true.
just like a horde of, like a horde of ants coming in. I think it's time for final thoughts, though.
Yeah. So final thoughts. It is good. If you keep up with the Marvel universe, you obviously have to see this. I'm sure all Marvel fans will. I guess one of the captains on the team is a huge Marvel fan. He's obsessed with Guardians and Captain America and everything else. And I'm assuming he had very high expectations for this because he thought it was okay, but he wasn't a big fan. So maybe don't expect it to top the first one. But kind of go with an open mind, and you'll enjoy it. It's still a good movie. It's still worth the watch. It's a lot of fun.
Right. And you gave it a 7. You give it a 7.
I think I set it with a 7.5 out of 10, which is it was good. It just felt a little bit short of greatness for me.
Right. One thing I do want to mention: this film is so anti-Man of Steel that it's actually really funny. Have you seen?
What do you mean?
You know how Man of Steel had that huge controversy with Superman killed all those people, and it was so have you not heard about that?
No, yeah, and he at the end the way he get.
Think about how many times the Avengers go out of their way to save people.
That's true.
It is
true.
totally
That's what they're all about. That's pretty funny. But you know what? A lot of people had a problem with Man of Steel with that. So I wonder if they were true.
That's why I'm saying that's why I'm saying they did it. I had a blast with this film. I don't think it's the greatest thing in the world. It's not the most amazing film I've ever seen, but it is a hell of a way to kick off the summer season. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it's already raked in close to $700 million.
Yeah. Absolutely recommended. I give it an 8.5.
Yeah, still
upper
good.
Echelon Marvel. See it as many times as you can. Enjoy it. Get ready for Civil War and Ant-Man.
I'm very excited for Civil War. Yeah.
Yeah.
Civil War should be great, and that's another thing. I wonder if they spend a little too much time setting up other movies, which they need to do. That's kind of what they do, but at the same time, they also didn't answer questions. Like the end of Iron Man 3 kind of left people wondering what's going to happen with Avengers 2, and they don't really tell you. They're just kind of like, yep.
I chalk that up to passage of time a bit. I mean, once again,
they might have had that in there and then taken it out
once
to
again,
save time.
3-hour cut, I'm telling you.
Right. I have to
one of
see
the
a
only
3-hour
times
cut,
that's
I really
acceptable.
Do. Yeah.
But that'll do it for our review of Avengers Age of Ultron. Mother's Day is coming up in, I guess, a few days. I thought it was a few weeks. Also, on May 29th, my mother's celebrating like her 25th birthday or something. Let's just say that. And at least speaking for me, my mother is a big part of my film development. Granted, she usually passes out about 15 minutes into the movies we watch. Seriously, it's like ambient to her. But when she doesn't, she was the closest thing to a film peer that I had for a while, able to debate but unabashedly excited.
Still, as much as our moms want to watch movies with us, there are just some that they really shouldn't be next to us for. It can get awkward when a movie has excessive amount of drugs and sex and violence. The woman who gave birth to you just sitting by your side really doesn't always work.
It would make sense if a movie gave birth to us, right? So, in honor of Mother's Day, here's a special edition of Bang Bang. Top 5 movies you shouldn't watch with your mother. Jake?
So, there are a few films I would love to give the opening slot to. There's Bronson with Tom Hardy. There's even the Jackass movies, and even Fight Club. But I'm starting off the list with one of the most controversial films of all time, 1971's A Clockwork Orange. I personally don't love it. I think it's decent. But my dad and I sat down once to watch it, and within 20 minutes, we had to turn it off. And then I watched it alone a few months later. With the rough violence, horrific mental torture, rape among plenty of other nudity, all while you follow around a sadistic kid in a messed up society, it's just not a family movie night film by any means.
2004's Team America World Police is a really smart, complex, hilarious movie from the makers of the masters of complex and hilarious, South Park's Trey Parker and Matt Stone. It also features an extended scene of kinky doll sex, some really racist puppets, the insinuation that Matt Damon has Down syndrome, allusions to molestation, and some really intense acts of violence. There are other ways to celebrate your patriotism with your mother than sitting down to watch this raunchy, ridiculous, yet brilliant social commentary on American politics and morale. Also, while we're on these guys, don't watch the South Park movie from 1999 with Mama either.
Gotta have a montage. Sorry. Gone Girl. If you've seen it, you already know. I'm really not gonna say anything else, just Gone Girl. That's it. You're up.
Oh, okay. That's all you got, buddy?
That's
all
it.
right, all right. Jake hates this next film, but I personally think that the 2013 reboot of the Evil Dead franchise is some of the most effective usage of horror direction and gore in the past few years. Still, it's certainly not for the faint of heart. And since my mother is the type of lady that cries at the end of Toy Story 3, okay, well, bad example. Like mother, like son, what can I say? She's not going to be the type to enjoy faces being massacred, tongues being cut in half, arms amputated by cars, the list goes on and on. If you're a horror fan, see Evil Dead to squirm and compare it to the similarly shocking original or not, just don't even open that can of worms because they could be flesh-eating worms and devour you.
While I personally have a soft spot for Project X, because it wasn't universally acclaimed, I decided to just give it a shout out, and because my parents did watch this, and it's a movie simply about a house party gone wrong, about as horribly wrong as one can imagine, and it could permanently scar your parents. But for my actual next pick, I'm going with American Beauty. This Best Picture winner includes an affair, an infatuation with a minor, a kid creepily videotaping people in their own homes nude, drug dealing, homosexuality, murder, plotted murder, midlife crisis, being laid off from your job, and a couple who simply and blatantly couldn't give a flying fecal matter about each other anymore. Due to the realistic situations of troublesome family matters that go on, it's a bit tough at times. I swear it's a beautiful film, just not one to watch with your parents, especially both at the same time. And sorry for the content spoilers.
I was laid off your job like the thing you were escalating to. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo became a cultural phenomenon when it was originally released in novel form, but much of the attraction to the book comes from how intensely brutal some of the material is. Chief among the violence, deceitfulness, and depravity is the pervasive themes of sexual assault and rape, a theme that is very much so touched upon in David Fincher's 2011 adaptation of the book. Mom can handle mystery, she can even handle violence, but the rape scenes and abuse may be too much for her.
Lucky for me, not only can my mom not sit through a movie over 2 hours, but if it's after 8 at night, she's down for the count. It's over. So Wolf of Wall Street hopefully won't ever be a problem, seeing that it has a runtime of 3 hours. However, if we for some reason decide to throw it on one summer afternoon, the record-breaking F-words, overload of drugs, scams, absurd office parties, and of course sexual content filling those 3 hours could make for quite the uncomfortable couch potato experience.
Sacha Baron Cohen is really good at making people feel uncomfortable, to an audience's delight. I'd argue that the 2009 film Bruno is Cohen at his most uncomfortable and abrasive, but he's able to yank so many laughs out of the nausea that it's still astounding. Still, Mom doesn't need to see the countless scenes of Bruno's penis, or the scene where he tries to spur out the homophobia of the most bigoted areas of the country, or when he asks parents if he can film their children playing with bees, or especially when he adopts an African baby and names him OJ. Bruno is so bad, but simultaneously is so good at what it's trying to do. Shock you.
Before there was Bruno, there was this 2006 topper. While yes, this movie got quite the critical acclaim and even an Oscar nominee for Best Adapted Screenplay, Borat could be a fun watch with the Brents. Not. Borat is filled with racism, uncomfortable humor, and graphic nudity that I admittedly stopped watching after the hotel wrestling scene, we'll call it. I was young, but definitely not ready. I also admittedly watched it with a friend without telling my mom, because that's what sixth grade badasses do, right? On another note, to my brother, I am so sorry this happened to you. Because yes, my brother Brendan did in fact watch Borat with my mom.
Oh no.
May all of your troubles and future awkward encounters come with ease after experiencing the motherload at so early on.
Motherload. I mean, look at the title. Just look at it. Does that sound like a good idea to you? Look at the background. Look at what that is. Do you really want to subject your mother to Lars von Trier's 4.5-hour sexual extravaganza that was too graphic to even get a rating from the MPAA?
No.
Good, thank you. Nymphomaniac is about sex addiction, and not the fun kind of sex addiction either, if there's such a thing. Don't just watch this without your mother. Watch this alone. It's an awkward experience any way you mount it.
Really with the end? Oh, man. So I heard some call out from the studios, because when if my brother does decide to watch this one, the studio went, oh, when they heard you watch it with Mom. So I'm so
Brendan,
sorry
I love
that
you,
happened
buddy.
to you.
I'm sorry that happened
It's
to you.
just, that's a tragedy. That's an awful, awful thing.
Abby, if you're listening, there's still time. Just don't watch anything with mom. It's not a big problem. Just start the movie at 7:30 and it's over.
Did you actually enjoy Bruno? I've never seen Bruno, and I actually didn't even finish Borat.
It's really awkward, but I laughed at how
Really?
awkward it is. It's really funny.
I can't bring myself to get to it personally.
If you couldn't finish Borat, you're not finishing Bruno.
No,
There's
I don't
no
think so.
chance. There's
I got to
absolutely
give
no
Borat
chance.
another try. Like I said, I was in 6th grade, but Bruno, I don't know if I ever give a shot. A couple movies that I did give a shout out that I want to bring up again though. Bronson, good movie, one of Tom Hardy's best and his breakout role. But we get a little bit too much from him, in my opinion.
Physically speaking.
Yes, a little bit too much.
Yeah.
He's good. He's really good as Bronson. The movie I think is good. Though it's just.
We're talking seeing physically too much.
Yes.
Skip the first 5 minutes of Forgetting Sarah Marshall with your mom.
No
one needs to see Jason Segel
That too.
swing. It's fine.
What else? American Beauty is one of my personal favorites. I watched it over the
Gotta get to
winter.
that, yeah.
I don't know if you like it or not. I think you will. I love
We won
it.
Best Picture, so we'll see.
Yeah, I love it. I know Brittany can't get through it.
Yeah, there are some people that have problems with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's heavily rooted in, like I said, all kinds of stuff, and really at the forefront of a marriage just kind of not happening. So watching that with your parents is not a good idea either.
One more thing I want to add. If we're talking to younger people here, I don't know what our demographic is.
Don't watch Nymphomania.
I feel like it's our parents and our parents' friends who make them watch the show. But anyway, if we're talking to younger people here and you want to show your parents a inappropriate documentary that will still work in your favor, look at 2005's This Film Is Not Yet Rated. It explains how crappy the MPAA is. So you can be like, Mom, we watched that documentary together. Go take me to see this R-rated movie. So Abby, if you're trying to use that as a loophole, you didn't hear it from me, but you totally heard it from me.
If you have a desire to watch something like that, like Wolf of Wall Street, really, really good movie, but wow, is there a hell of a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah, you have to be like a big film buff or the right age to want to
Yes.
see that. I don't see myself wanting to see that at 13 if I don't care.
No.
Honestly.
The cocaine and the butts, and it's too much.
Well, now that we're done with those festivities, it's time for the culmination of our work this semester. It's our second annual mostly meaningless Middle Seats Awards. Okay. So this was really fun last semester.
Yeah, this worked out well last year, I think.
And we have a couple of awards. So let's alternate. This is going to go, we're going to start with this first one. This is the award for most likely to have back pains from selfieing goes to Danny Horbiak. And let's get that over. Let's take a look at what this is like. That's just really bad for the back, I feel like.
Congratulations, Danny.
Yeah, or the neck. I would say the neck too. That's
Both.
also very I don't know how good of that angle would that be for a selfie. I don't even
Yeah,
know.
I feel like that's mostly
I
forehead.
don't know if that's
you know?
flattering.
I thought that was mostly.
Danny, we might
looks
have to
like
teach you
mostly forehead.
technique. I don't
Yeah,
know.
we got the master over here. The literally every time.
It's a very similar selfie every single time. There's an Andrew J selfie.
It's like a trend. It's the Andrew J selfie.
There's a formula. All right, what's the next
So
award?
the next one is shiniest forehead. Christian.
It is wow.
I mean, it's like-
can you polish my car?
Is there like a machine that you use for that? Because that's something. That's
Working at the
wow.
car wash.
I mean, like apples glisten in the sunlight, but that forehead is just.
Yo, SPF 350 that bitch. Make sure you're suntanning that.
Yo, speaking of, I am peeling.
Are you peeling?
Yeah. Did you
Yeah.
see my sunburn? Did you see that?
We'll work on
So
that later.
bad.
We'll talk about this later.
Okay.
Next, I guess I get to poke a little bit about fun at myself here. The Can't Even Award. I literally cannot even. Cannot even. I don't know what I'm looking at here. I'm already deathly sick in this episode, I think, anyway.
Is
so.
that the American Sniper one?
I believe so.
Oh man, I couldn't even either in that one, so that's okay.
Yeah.
I
You couldn't
even
either.
speak. I was coughing
We both
the
looked
entire
like we were
review. It was
dying. I
awful.
literally just took an Advil and jumped on set and we
Yeah,
were like,
you
let's
did.
go.
I remember you were like, I might not be able to do the show. I'm really sick. I'm gonna nap and take a couple Advil. You woke up an hour later like, yo, I'm good. So oh, wow, all right.
I didn't tell you about the heroin, but let's deal with that later.
Okay, so the next award is most likely to have devoured Chipotle right after the picture, and that's Amanda. Amanda Splendorio.
You look really hungry or really angry.
I'm please
I can't decide which
or
one.
hangry, which is hungry and
hangry.
angry. Please don't get your washing machine mafia people on me for that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
please, no.
Sorry.
We're okay. We're really okay. I'd like to keep my life, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me
Put the
too.
middle finger down. Come on.
Yeah. We see that in there in the
have
studio.
Have some professionalism
Yeah,
in there.
come on.
Come on.
This is the middle seats. We're a happy show.
We're running a, granted, sinking ship, but a ship. Most likely to do cocaine on the air. This one's yours, buddy. Let's take a look at
Couldn't
this.
tell you why, but that's why.
That's why.
Makes sense. All right.
What are you wiping out there? Either way, you lose. It's either a booger or cocaine. It's not going to end well. So
Yeah, I did something before the show. I'll tell you that. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
We'll deal with that later.
So, yeah, there's that. I'm gonna move on now. Most likely to stalk Chris Evans is once again.
We're picking on Amanda again.
Oh God, this is 2 for me. It's over for me. It's over. I'm gonna accept my fate at this point.
Hey, Chris Evans, if you're listening and you see like a laundromat, van
Pop
outside
in.
your house, just run, please, because I really want to see Civil War, like really badly. And Amanda will do anything.
That's
to
actually
prevent the Civil War,
Tony Stark getting Amanda's mafia people on you. That's how he's gonna win.
All right. This next one might be my favorite. Most likely to kill you in your sleep / make you breakfast, and that goes to our own Laura Platts here. Let's take a look at this. Let's see.
Laura won this one?
Laura.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
That is straight out of the Evil Dead picture that we had.
Yeah. I should have just put that in the background.
Yeah, really.
Honestly.
That is. I mean, Laura's definitely not evil, nor is she dead. But wow, the resemblance there.
No, she is in fact not dead. She's right there.
Yeah. Hi, Laura.
Yeah. Also bad for the neck. You and Danny might need a
It's a bad
chiropractor.
bad luck for the program in general.
It's just in general. All right.
Most likely to talk about movies so much that they literally become one with the movie.
That goes to our own
and
Josh
he's literally
Selkovitz right here.
sitting
Let's take a look
right
at
over there,
this.
Mr. Star Wars himself, Josh.
Let's take a look at this picture. Yeah,
There
literally
he is.
becoming one with the. Oh,
Other
that's
one.
Laura. That's not.
That's Laura
There
again.
you go.
Can't get off Laura.
I think
Yeah,
that was
there
my fault.
he
But
He's Mr. Star Wars. There he's Mr. Harry Potter.
He's Mr. Harry
He's a
Potter.
movie. He is. He was talking about how good his hair looked. He's been in makeup. He's been in hair. He's in a movie.
we had to call the fire department for that one, if I remember correctly. Most likely to make out with a camera.
now it's your turn.
3rd time's the charm. Let's take a look at this.
It's over for both of us.
It's the world's best love story.
'Cause you'll be in my arms.
We've been singing too much Tarzan recently.
I know. I've 2 weeks now I've listened to Tarzan.
Amanda's like, oh yeah, Iris. She's really enjoying that in there.
Baby, 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 oh.
All right, you got this next one.
The I've Fallen and I Can't Get Up award goes to
And we'd actually have to pan
John.
down. There's John. He looks like he's struggling, and Danny is not helping at all.
All right, or
which
it could be the Life Alert award, the Fallen and I Can't Get Up award.
Danny's
the,
just looking at him like, yeah, you're a piece of shit. I'm not helping you.
the turn down so much he can't get up award. You know, the John
This has
John Perna.
This has a lot of alternate names.
You're welcome, John.
Okay, and our final award, the easiest face to put on any picture, which we found out 2-3 weeks ago.
Our very own.
I mean, to return to this is a bit redundant, but Peter,
That's totally fine.
that face, it just fits every mood.
When Peter runs out of his favorite, not gonna say it on air, but
We've talked about that enough.
his favorite button down.
Oh my
we'll
God,
put it that way.
How many fingers do you guys have?
Hello, Amanda.
There are so many middle fingers going out
Yeah,
our way.
Amanda. Wow, quite
Anyway,
the hostility from the studio.
That's the mostly meaningless middle seats awards.
We're giving you guys awards. Come on now.
Thank you all for playing for this semester. And I just want to get serious for a bit here. This is the final broadcast of the MCTV year.
Crazy.
We've done what? This is our 21st
Crazy.
episode of Middle Seats. We've produced 21 of these things.
Wow.
10 last semester. This is our 11th this semester. In all sincerity, I have the best crew in the world. You all come out day in and day out, and you give us 150%. No matter when I'm crabby or cranky, like I was about an hour ago. You all just come in. You have so much fun. You just mingle. You get your jobs done, and we produce a hell of a show every time, and I thank you for that. And I just want to talk about the people that are leaving that have had an impact. Peter, I've said thank you like 30 million times, but I'm going to say it again. Thank you so much for everything you do. We've had days where we spend maybe like 10, 15 hours together, and it seems exhausting at the time, but there is nothing I'm going to miss more, Peter. You are one of my best friends. You're an incredible director. You're an incredible talent, and I'm going to miss you so much. Marissa, same goes to you. We've spent a lot of time together. You're like my big sister. You're fantastic. Brittany and I have gotten so close this year. She has mentored me in a way that I could never have imagined. And I want to say thank you to all of you, especially, and good luck in the future, because I know you're going to kill it. And don't forget about us here. Jake, as always, you've developed so much this year, and I'm so proud of you. You have makeup on, don't do that.
Come on air.
But we have 2 years of this left.
I
And
know,
can
and
you
I'm
imagine
pumped.
where this is going to go after this?
Pumped. We might finish our middle seats like ever with like Captain America: Civil War. Oh no, that's next year.
That's
so
next year.
following year, maybe Spider-Man.
Yeah, we'll see.
Who knows?
We'll see.
I don't know.
Let's not even think about that now. I don't want to go there.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone that supported us over the year. That will do it for an incredible year here at MCTV. Thank you so much to everybody that has tuned in.
Yes. Quick thank you from me also, Peter, who has really paved the way for and showing me like everything there is to know involving MCTV. Not much of a tech guy, but whatever I do know from technology is from Peter. Everything I've learned on cameras from Peter. Everything in the 2 episodes I've directed is from Peter. He's helped everybody out with everything.
There is going to be an amazing void missing next year.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
just hope you know that.
Marissa texted a group chat today with a Pulp Fiction reference, so I'm going to miss Marissa dearly. I've grown a little bit closer with Brittany. We had to pretend to date, which was quite the bonding experience.
Your girlfriend's going to be back in the States tomorrow, so be careful with
No,
that.
I know. She's already mad, but not really. But yeah, and as always, everybody in here who signs up day in and day out, or week in and week out, I should say, is just really helpful because we really couldn't do the show without everybody who helps out, and we always get a really good turnout every week. So
And
thank
we
you
get
for
better
everybody.
and better and better every week.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm so proud about.
From the first episode to now is just a huge change.
Yeah, and I love you all if that hasn't come across.
So yeah, once again, thank you to everybody. And if you like what you see here, which I hope you do, and want to track what Andrew and I do over the summer, our email address and Facebook link is below.
That will do it for everyone here at the Middle Seats. I'm Andrew Auger.
Signing off, I'm Jay Kensler.
Keep that seat warm, everyone. Have a cinematastic summer.
Yeah.
We'll see you very soon.